Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Your future is not something that just happens to you. It's something you create. It's built brick by the choices you make every single day. See, too many people walk through life hoping things will change, but hope is not a strategy. Change comes from discipline, from resilience, from having a vision and backing it up with action. So today, I want to give you 5 important rules that will change your future. If you follow these, not only will you achieve success, but you will also create a legacy that will outlive you. Listen carefully, because this right here, this could be the moment that changes everything. So go out there, fail forward, stay disciplined, get uncomfortable, serve others. Fail forward. Just the sound of that word makes people uncomfortable. It's a word most of us spend our lives running from. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the end. Failure is the beginning. Think about this. How many times have you been afraid to try something new because you feared failing? How many dreams have died before they even started because you told yourself, what if I fail? But let me flip that question on you. What if you don't? What if you win? What if the failure is exactly what you need to grow? Let me tell you a story. There was once a young boy who loved basketball. He had big dreams, NBA, championships, greatness. He tried out for his high school team, believing he had what it took. But when the final list of players was posted, his name wasn't on it. Cut, rejected, failed. That boy, Michael Jordan. Now, most people would have taken that as a sign to quit. Most people would have said, maybe I'm not good enough, but not him. Instead of letting that failure define him, he used it to drive him. He went home, he practiced harder, he worked longer, he trained with an intensity most people couldn't understand. And what happened? He became the greatest basketball player of all time. Failure didn't stop him, it fueled him. See, most people don't realize that failure is a teacher. It's the ultimate lesson in life. It exposes your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. It challenges your limits so you can push beyond them. It humbles you so you can grow. Look around, every great success story you've ever heard started with failure. Steve Jobs, fired from Apple, the company he created. Oprah Winfrey, told she wasn't fit for television. Walt Disney, rejected for lacking creativity. The difference between them and everyone else, they failed forward. Most people fail and stop. They take it as a sign that they weren't meant for greatness. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. It's the price of admission. It's the fire that forges champions. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby stands up, wobbles, and falls. Do they give up? No, they get back up. They try again. They fall again and again and again. But eventually, they take their first step. Then another. Then they're running. And before you know it, they never look back. Now imagine if that baby thought like most adults do, I fell, I guess walking isn't for me, they would stay on the floor forever. But they don't, because failure is natural, failure is necessary, failure is how we grow. But somewhere along the way, we forget that. We start fearing failure. Society teaches us that failure is something to be ashamed of. Schools tell us that making mistakes means we aren't smart. Workplaces punish people for trying something different and failing. But let me ask you this, what's worse? Trying something and failing, or never trying at all and living the rest of your life wondering, what if? I don't know about you, but I'd rather fail 100 times than live with regret. You want to be great? You want to build a future that's bigger than your dreams? Then you have to fail forward. That means when you fail, you learn from it. You analyze what went wrong, you improve, you adapt, you come back stronger. It means you don't let failure define you, but you use it to refine you. You fall forward. Because when you fall forward, you're still moving in the right direction. So let this sink in. Failure is not final. Failure is feedback. Failure is a setup for a comeback. The only real failure in life is the failure to try, the failure to push yourself, the failure to rise after you fall. So the next time life knocks you down, the next time you fall flat on your face, the next time you hear no when you were hoping for yes, remember this. Greatness isn't about how many times you succeed. It's about how many times you get back up. So go out there, fail, learn, grow, win. If you're waking up every morning, dragging yourself out of bed, dreading the day ahead, and counting down the hours until it's over, then let me tell you something. You're not living, you're just existing. And that is not what life is about. See, too many people spend their lives doing what they think they should do instead of what they were meant to do. They pick jobs based on salary, they follow paths chosen by society, and they settle for safe instead of striving for greatness. But let me ask you, what's the point of a life without passion? Think about it. The most successful people in the world, the people who leave a mark, the people we admire, they didn't chase money, they chased purpose. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who loved acting. He had a vision of being on the big screen, of telling stories that move people, but everyone around him told him to be realistic. They said acting wasn't a real career, that he should find a stable job. The world told him no, but he didn't listen. He worked as a garbage collector. He struggled, lived paycheck to paycheck, barely had enough to eat. But every free moment he dedicated to his craft. He went to auditions. He got rejected over and over, but he never stopped. And that young man, Denzel Washington. Now imagine if he had listened to those voices telling him to be realistic. Imagine if he had settled for a job he hated just because it was safe. The world would have never known his talent. We wouldn't have the performances that have inspired millions. And that's the problem. Too many people are choosing comfort over calling. They choose a job that pays well but kills their spirit. They choose a path that pleases their parents but leaves them empty. They ignore the fire inside them, the dreams that make their heart race, and settle for good enough. But let me tell you, good enough is not good enough. Because here's the truth. You will never be great at something you don't love. Think about the greatest athletes, the greatest musicians, the greatest inventors. None of them did it for money. They did it because they couldn't imagine doing anything else. They did it because it was their passion. Michael Jordan didn't play basketball for the paycheck. Oprah Winfrey didn't become a media icon for the fame. Elon Musk didn't build Tesla and SpaceX for the money. They did it because they loved it, because they believed in it, because it was their purpose. Now, I'm not saying passion alone is enough. Passion needs to be backed by hard work, by discipline, by persistence. But if you don't have passion, you won't have the drive to push through the hard times. Because here's the thing, every journey has struggles. Every dream comes with obstacles. And if you're doing something just for the money, the first time you hit a wall, you'll quit. But if you love what you do, nothing can stop you. Let me ask you something. What sets your soul on fire? Not what pays the bills, not what impresses people, not what's easy, but what makes you come alive, because that thing, that's what you're meant to do. And if you haven't found it yet, don't stop searching. Try new things, explore, take risks, because the worst thing you can do is settle for a life that doesn't excite you. Think about this. What if Steve Jobs had never followed his passion for technology? What if J.K. Rowling had given up on writing when she was broke? What if Martin Luther King Jr. had ignored his calling for justice? The world would have been robbed of their genius. And the same goes for you. If you don't chase your passion, if you don't do what you love, the world will never see your full potential. So don't let fear stop you. Don't let society define you. Don't let comfort keep you from greatness. Find what you love and go all in, because a life without passion isn't a life at all. You want success? You want to build a future that's bigger than your dreams? Then let me tell you something. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. You don't need more people telling you you can do it. What you need is discipline. Because here's the truth. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings fade. You might wake up one day feeling inspired, ready to take on the world. You tell yourself, today, I'm going to work hard, hit the gym, chase my dreams. And maybe you do. But what happens the next morning when you wake up tired, when life gets hard, when the excitement is gone? I'll tell you what happens to most people. They quit. Not because they weren't talented, not because they weren't capable, but because they relied on motivation instead of discipline. Motivation is easy, it's exciting, it feels good, but motivation doesn't last. Discipline does. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who wanted to be a writer. He dreamed of publishing books, of inspiring people with his words. He was passionate, motivated, full of ideas. But do you know what he did every time he sat down to write? He waited. He waited for inspiration. He waited for the perfect moment. He waited to feel ready. And guess what? He never finished a single book. Now, compare that to another writer, Stephen King. Stephen King writes every single day, rain or shine, inspired or not, whether he feels like it or not. He writes 2,000 words a day. And that's why he's one of the most successful authors in history. Not because he's the most talented, not because he's the most creative, but because he's the most disciplined. And that's the difference between winners and losers. Winners show up even when they don't feel like it. Think about athletes. Do you think Kobe Bryant felt motivated every morning at 4 a.m. when he was out on the court practicing? You think Serena Williams woke up every day feeling excited to train for hours? No, but they did it anyway because they understood a simple truth. Discipline beats motivation every single time. Let me put it this way. If success was easy, everyone would have it. If it only took motivation, everyone would be rich, fit, successful. But look around. Most people don't achieve their dreams. Most people quit when it gets hard. Most people settle for average. Why? Because discipline is hard. Discipline means waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. Discipline means working when you'd rather relax. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when no one is watching. And that's why most people will never reach their full potential. They wait for motivation. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for the right moment. But guess what? The right moment never comes. The most successful people in the world don't wait. They act. They don't ask themselves, do I feel like working today? They don't sit around waiting for inspiration to strike. They get up, they show up, and they do the work no matter what. And that's what you need to do. Because the moment you stop waiting for motivation and start embracing discipline, everything changes. You want to get in shape? Don't wait until you feel like going to the gym. Go anyway. You want to build a business? Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Start now. You want to be successful? Stop making excuses. Be consistent, because discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Not talent, not luck, not motivation, discipline. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop looking for the easy way. Be disciplined and watch how your future transforms. Every single person you admire, every single person who has achieved greatness, every single person who has changed the world, they all had one thing in common. They believed in themselves before anyone else did. Let that sink in. Before the world saw their greatness, before they had success, before they had proof that they would make it, they believed in themselves first. Because here's the truth: if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. The world is full of doubters, full of people who will tell you what you can't do, full of critics who will laugh at your dreams, full of voices that will try to convince you that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough. And if you don't believe in yourself, guess what? You'll believe them. And that is how dreams die, not because people lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, because they lack belief. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young boy who struggled in school. His teacher said he was slow, said he wouldn't amount to much, said he had a learning disability. They told his mother he wouldn't go far. But his mother, she refused to believe that. She told him, you are a genius, you are special. You are special for greatness. And do you know who that little boy grew up to be? Albert Einstein. And if he had listened to those teachers, imagine if he had believed the people who doubted him, the world would have never known one of the greatest minds in history. But he didn't listen. He believed in himself. And because he did, he changed the world. And that's the power of self-belief. Because let me tell you something, the world will always test you. People will doubt you. People will reject you. People will laugh at your dreams. But none of that matters. What matters is, do you believe in you? Because if you do, nothing can stop you. Think about every great success story you know. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for TV. Walt Disney was told he lacked creativity. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. But did they let that stop them? No, because they had something stronger than doubt, stronger than rejection, stronger than failure. They had belief. They knew deep in their soul that they were meant for something greater. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't need permission. They didn't need someone else to tell them they could do it. They told themselves. And that is what made all the difference. Because here's the secret: you don't need people to believe in you. You just need you to believe in you. Let me ask you something. What's stopping you from going after your dreams? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the voice in your head telling you you're not good enough? Let me tell you what to do with that voice. Silence it. Because that voice is lying to you. You are good enough. You are smart enough. You are capable enough. But none of that matters if you don't believe it. Because self-belief is a choice. You don't wait for it. You don't hope for it. You decide. You wake up every day and say, I am capable. I'm worthy. I will succeed. Even when you fail. Even when people doubt you. Even when you don't feel like it. Because belief is not about having proof. It's about having faith. Faith that your hard work will pay off. Faith that your dreams are possible. Faith that you are destined for something bigger. And when you believe that, really believe that, everything changes. You walk differently. You talk differently. You move through the world with confidence, with purpose, with power. And eventually the world catches up. Because when you believe in yourself, doors start to open. Opportunities start to appear. People start to see in you what you always saw in yourself. And that's how success is born. Not from luck, not from talent, but from unshakable belief. So let me leave you with this. If you have a dream, go after it. If you have a goal, fight for it. If you have a vision for your life, never let it go. And most importantly, believe in yourself. Because if you don't, who will? Time. The most valuable thing we have, more valuable than possessions, more valuable than anything you could ever own. Because here's the truth: you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Yet how many people treat time like it's unlimited? How many people waste it on things that don't matter, on distractions, on excuses? How many people wake up every day going through the motions, telling themselves, I'll do it tomorrow, not realizing that tomorrow is never promised? See, the difference between successful people and average people isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It's how they use their time. Successful people protect their time like their life depends on it, because it does. They don't waste it on meaningless distractions. They don't waste it worrying about what people think. They don't waste it making excuses. They spend their time building, growing, improving, pushing forward, because they understand that every second wasted is a second they'll never get back. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who had big dreams. He wanted to write a book, start a business, travel the world. But every day he told himself, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into next week. Next week turned into next month. Next month turned into next year. And before he knew it, 10 years had passed and he had done nothing. He looked back at his life and realized something painful. It wasn't that he failed. It wasn't that he tried and didn't succeed. It was that he never even started. And that's the saddest thing of all, because here's the truth: time is running out. Every day, every hour, every minute, it's slipping away. And the question is, what are you doing with it? Are you using it to build your dreams? Or are you wasting it on distractions? Are you using it to get better, stronger, wiser? Or are you letting it slip through your fingers? Because let me tell you something, there's no perfect time. There's no right moment. There's only now. And if you don't start now, you'll wake up one day full of regret, wondering where the time went, wishing you had used it better. I don't let that be you, because here's what happens when you start valuing your time: everything changes. You stop making excuses. You stop procrastinating. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. And suddenly your life starts moving forward, because success isn't built overnight. It's built in the small moments, in the everyday choices, in the time you decide to invest in yourself instead of wasting it. So only about the most successful people in the world: Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey. They have the same 24 hours as you. The difference: they use their time wisely. They don't waste it binge watching TV. They don't waste it scrolling on social media for hours. They don't waste it complaining about life. They spend the time learning, growing, creating, working, because they know that every second counts. Now, let me ask you, how are you spending your time? Are you investing it in your future? Or are you throwing it away? Because at the end of the day, your time is your life. And if you waste your time, you waste your life. So stop waiting. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Stop waiting until you have all the answers. Start now. Because the clock is ticking. And the only question is, what are you going to do with the time you have left? Failure. The word alone scares people. The idea of failing, of making mistakes, of falling short, it keeps people from even trying. It stops them in their tracks before they take the first step. But let me tell you something: failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Look at anyone who has ever achieved something great. Anyone who has built an empire, changed the world, left a legacy. Every single one of them has failed, not once, not twice, but over and over again. Because success is not about avoiding failure. Success is about learning from failure and pushing forward. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who dreamed of building a company. He had an idea, a vision, something he believed could change the world. He put everything into it: his time, his energy, his heart. And then he failed. His first company crashed. No one believed in it. Investors pulled out. He lost everything. Most people would have quit. Most people would have taken that failure as proof that they weren't good enough. Most people would have said, maybe this isn't for me, but not him. He didn't let failure define him. He let failure teach him. He started again. He worked harder. He learned from his mistakes. And that man, Elon Musk. If Elon Musk had quit after his first failure, there would be no Tesla, no SpaceX, no revolution in electric cars or space travel. Now imagine if he had given up. Imagine if he had said, I failed, so that must mean I'm not meant to succeed. The world would have lost one of the greatest innovators of our time. And that's the problem. Too many people quit too soon. They try once, they fail, and they think, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But let me tell you something: failure is not a sign to stop. Failure is a sign to grow, because failure is not the end. It's a lesson. Every failure teaches you something. Every mistake makes you stronger. Every setback is preparing you for a comeback. The only people who never fail, the people who never try. Think about that. If you've never failed at anything, it means you've never taken a risk. You've never pushed yourself beyond your limits. You've never stepped outside your comfort zone. And that's a bigger failure than failing, because success is built on failure. Michael Jordan missed over 9,000 shots in his career. Walt Disney was fired from a job for lacking imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. But did they let failure stop them? No, because they understood one thing: failure is temporary. Failure is not permanent unless you quit. And the only real failure in life? Giving up. So let me ask you something. What have you failed at? Did you try to start a business that didn't work out? Did you apply for a job and get rejected? Did you step out of your comfort zone, fall short, and feel embarrassed? Good. Because that means you're growing. That means you're trying. That means you're trying the right path. But the question is, what will you do next? Will you let failure break you, or will you let failure build you? Because the truth is, every failure brings you one step closer to success. Every great person you admire has failed more times than you can imagine. But the reason they succeeded, they didn't stop. And neither should you. Because failure is not the end of your story. It's just the beginning. The people you surround yourself with will either lift you up or pull you down. They will either push you toward greatness or drag you into mediocrity. They will either inspire you to be your best or make you comfortable being average. Because here's the truth. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a second. Look at the 5 closest people in your life. Are they ambitious, driven, positive, encouraging? Or are they negative, lazy, full of excuses, always complaining? Because whether you realize it or not, their mindset is shaping yours. See, energy is contagious. If you hang around people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses. If you hang around people who complain about life, you'll start complaining. If you hang around people who settle for less, you'll start settling too. But if you surround yourself with winners, people who push themselves, people who work hard, people who are chasing their dreams, guess what? You'll start pushing yourself too, because greatness rubs off. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who grew up in a rough neighborhood. Most of the people around him were involved in the wrong things: drugs, crime, violence. Every day he saw the same thing: people wasting their potential, throwing their lives away. But there was one man in his neighborhood, a mentor, a coach, who saw something in him. This coach told him, if you want a better future, you need to surround yourself with better people. You need to find people who are going places, people who think differently, people who will make you better. At first, the young man didn't believe it, but one day he decided to listen. He cut off the toxic influences in his life. He started spending time with people who had ambition, who had discipline, who had goals. And do you know what happened? Everything changed. His mindset changed. His habits changed. His future changed. And that young man, Denzel Washington. Now, imagine if he had stayed around the wrong crowd. Imagine if he had let the negative people around him shape his future. Imagine if he had listened to the voices that told him he couldn't make it. The world would have never known one of the greatest actors of our time. And that's what I'm telling you. Who you surround yourself with will determine your destiny. Because here's the thing, you can't fly if you're surrounded by people who are afraid of heights. You can't grow if you're constantly around people who don't want to change. You can't succeed if you're hanging around people who don't even try. You need to find people who challenge you, inspire you, push you, people who make you uncomfortable in your comfort zone. People who force you to level up, people who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. Because when you surround yourself with winners, you start thinking like a winner. Look at any successful person, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a leader. Do you think they spend their time with people who drag them down? No. They surround themselves with people who elevate them, people who bring out their best, people who make them work harder, people who refuse to let them settle. And that's exactly what you need to do. Look at your circle. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they encouraging your dreams or laughing at them? Are they making you better or keeping you stuck? Because if they're not helping you grow, they're holding you back, and you don't have time for that. Your dreams are too big. Your future is too important. Your life is too valuable to waste it around the wrong people. So here's what you need to do. Find your tribe. Find the people who want more out of life. Find the people who believe in hard work, discipline, and growth. Find the people who will push you when you feel like quitting. Because when you do, everything changes. Your mindset changes, your motivation changes, your results change. And that's how success is built, not just through your own effort, but through the people you choose to surround yourself with. So choose wisely, because your circle will either make you or break you. And if you want to change your future, start by changing the people around you. Discipline, a word most people don't like to hear, because let's be real, discipline is hard. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It doesn't give you instant gratification, but let me tell you something. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. You can have all the talent in the world. You can have the biggest dreams. You can have the best intentions. But if you don't have discipline, you will never reach your full potential, because talent might get you started. Motivation might give you a push, but only discipline will keep you going. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to be great. He had big dreams, big goals, big ambitions. But every time he tried to start something, he would get excited for a few days and then quit. One day, he decided to ask a successful businessman what the secret to success was. The businessman smiled and said, "The secret is simple. You do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it." And that's what discipline is. Doing what needs to be done. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, not when you feel like it, but every single day. Because here's the truth. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll wake up ready to conquer the world. Other days, you won't even feel like getting out of bed. But discipline is what makes you show up anyway. It's waking up early even when you're tired. It's going to the gym even when you don't feel like it. It's working on your goals even when no one is watching. Because discipline is not about how you feel. Discipline is about what you do. And let me tell you, every successful person you admire is disciplined. Kobe Bryant used to wake up at 4 a.m. to practice. Before practice, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson hits the gym every day, before the sun rises. Will Smith said, self-discipline is self-love, because they know that success is built on consistency. Not one great day, not one lucky break, not one burst of inspiration, but showing up every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one is clapping for you. Because here's the thing, discipline creates habits, and your habits shape your future. Show me your daily habits, and I'll show you where you'll be in 5 years.